Once upon a time, by the edge of a quiet, windswept sea, there lived a poor fisherman named Elias and his wife, Maren. They did not own much, just a small, weathered cottage that leaned against the salty wind, and a wooden boat that creaked with every wave. Yet, in their little world, the sea was both a provider and a mystery, and Elias loved it more than anything else. Every morning, before the sun peeked over the horizon, Elias would row his boat into the open waters. He carried only his net, his strength, and a deep respect for the sea's moods. Some days, the catch was good, enough to fill their table and even trade for bread or firewood. Other days, the ocean gave him nothing but empty nets and sore arms. Maren, his wife, was practical. She kept their home warm, their meals simple, and their clothes mended. Yet, though she cared deeply for Elias, she often dreamed of more, of finer food, a bigger house, and a life that felt less like a struggle. One gray morning, when the sky hung low and the waves hissed against the rocks, Elias cast his net into the sea as usual. He waited, humming an old tune, when suddenly the net pulled with a force so strong it nearly dragged him overboard. With every ounce of his strength, Elias hauled it up. Inside was not a fish as he expected, but something shimmering, something alive with strange light. It was a fish, yes, but not like any fish he had ever seen. Its scales glistened like molten gold, its eyes shone like twin stars, and when it opened its mouth, a voice unlike any human's echoed across the water. "Fisherman," said the golden fish, "please spare my life. I am not an ordinary fish. I am enchanted, trapped in this form. If you let me go, I will be forever grateful." Elias was so startled he nearly dropped the net. "A talking fish," he whispered. Then, feeling a sudden rush of compassion, he gently lowered the golden creature back into the sea. "Go, then, I need no reward. Be free." The fish flicked its shining tail and disappeared into the waves. That evening, when Elias returned home empty-handed, Maren frowned. "Nothing again?" she asked, kneading bread dough with her strong hands. "Nothing to eat," Elias admitted, and then told her about the golden fish. Maren's eyes widened. "And you just let it go?" "Yes," Elias said simply. "It begged for its life. What else could I do?" Maren sighed, shaking her head. "If the fish was magical, it could have given us something in return. A warm hearth, a better roof, a loaf of bread that doesn't go stale. Why didn't you ask?" Elias chuckled softly. "Because kindness should not ask for payment. The joy is in the giving." But Maren could not let it go. That night, as the waves roared outside their little cottage, she whispered into the darkness, "If only he had asked." The next morning, Maren insisted Elias return to the sea. "Call the fish again," she urged. "If it is as magical as you say, it will grant a wish. Ask it for a better house. We live like beggars when we could live like kings." Elias resisted at first. "It feels wrong," he said. "We have enough." But Maren pressed him until he agreed. Reluctantly, Elias rowed out and called into the waters, golden fish, if you can hear me, please return." The sea rippled, and the shining fish rose from the depths. "What is it, fisherman? Why do you call me?" "My wife," Elias began, shifting uncomfortably, "she wishes for a better house. Something sturdy, something warm." The golden fish's eyes gleamed. "Go home. It is done." When Elias returned, his jaw dropped. Their crooked cottage had been replaced with a cozy stone house, its chimney puffing smoke, its windows glowing with warmth. Maren stood at the doorway, grinning from ear to ear. "Look at this," she exclaimed. "A real home, Elias. No more leaks in the roof, no more drafts through the walls." "Isn't it wonderful?" Elias nodded slowly. "Yes, wonderful." Yet, deep inside, he felt uneasy. For a time, Maren was content. They had warm beds, shelves of food, and a fire that never seemed to die. But as days passed, her dreams grew larger. One evening, as Elias mended his nets, she said, "This house is nice, but what if we had a mansion? Imagine servants to cook, gardens filled with roses, and clothes finer than silk. Why should we stop here, when the fish can give more?" Elias frowned. "Maren, we have enough. We are safe, warm, and fed. Why ask for more?" "Because, Elias," she pressed, her eyes shining with hunger for more than bread and broth, "we could live like lords. Go back. Ask again." And so, with a heavy heart, Elias returned to the sea. The waves were rougher that day, the sky darker. Still, the golden fish appeared. "What now, fisherman?" the fish asked, its voice less cheerful than before. "My wife," Elias said quietly, "she longs for a mansion, with gardens and servants. The fish's scales dimmed for a moment, then flared. Go home. It is done. When Elias reached the shore, he could hardly believe his eyes. Their modest stone house was gone, replaced by a sprawling mansion with tall towers, golden gates, and gardens blooming with every flower he had ever known. Servants rushed about, bowing to Maren as she stood on the balcony, dressed in velvet. "Isn't this marvelous?" she cried, her laughter echoing across the courtyard. Elias smiled faintly, though his heart felt heavier than ever. Dash dash dash. But as days turned into weeks, Maren's contentment once again faded. She grew restless, pacing the halls of their mansion. One night she whispered to Elias, "Why stop at a mansion? We could be rulers. Ask the fish to make me a queen." Elias sat up in bed, shocked. "A queen? Maren, the sea grows angrier each time I ask. The fish looks weaker. I fear we are pressing our luck." But Maren's voice was sharp. "Do you want me to be less than what I can be? Go, Elias. Go tomorrow." And though it broke his heart, Elias obeyed. The next morning, the sea was wild. The sky churned with clouds, and the boat rocked violently. Still, Elias called, golden fish, please return." The fish rose slowly, its golden light dim. "What now, fisherman?" "My wife." Elias hesitated. "She wishes to be a queen." The fish's eyes closed, and for a moment Elias feared it would refuse. But then, softly, it said, "Go home. It is done." And indeed, when Elias returned, the mansion was now a castle, vast and gleaming. Soldiers stood at the gates, banners flew high, and Maren sat on a throne, robed in jewels. "Look at me," she cried, her crown glittering. "Queen of all I see." Elias bowed his head, though sorrow gnawed at him. Dash dash dash. But still, Maren was not satisfied. From her throne, she gazed at the sea and whispered, "If the fish can make me queen, why not more? Why not empress? Why not ruler of the world? Why not the master of the sea itself?" Elias's face grew pale. "No, Maren, please. We have gone too far. The sea rages with every wish. The fish weakens. To ask for more is greed." But Maren's ambition burned too brightly. "Go," she ordered. "Tell the fish I want to be ruler of the seas. I want to command the waves themselves." Tears filled Elias's eyes. "Maren, it will destroy us. Go," she shouted. And so, broken-hearted, Elias rowed out once more. This time, the sea was black with fury, waves towering like mountains. Thunder cracked overhead. Trembling, Elias called, golden fish, please return." At last, the fish rose, barely glowing, its voice hoarse. "What now, fisherman?" Elias fell to his knees. "Forgive me. My wife, she wishes to rule the sea itself." The fish stared at him, sorrow in its eyes. For a long moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a voice like the final crash of a wave, the fish said, "Go home." Elias rowed through the storm, his heart pounding. When he reached the shore, he gasped. The castle was gone. The soldiers, the servants, the gardens, all gone. In their place stood their old, crooked cottage, leaning against the salty wind. Inside, Maren sat in her patched dress, staring at the cracked walls in disbelief. What happened?" she whispered. Elias put his arm around her shoulders, his heart aching for her disappointment. "We asked too much," he said softly. "And the sea has given us back what we had." For the first time, Maren's eyes filled with tears. She leaned against Elias, and though the cottage was small, and the wind still howled through its cracks, for that moment, it felt warmer than any castle. And the sea, wild and endless, whispered outside their door.